Mayor. First time here, I think. Representative Bob Eaton. And for the final time, I believe, Senator Richard Bray. Gentlemen.
You have the honor, Senator.
Okay, I'll say a few things very briefly here. As I just said, we finished up a week ago, last night, wasn't it? Well, no, a week ago this morning, to be perfectly honest. I think we got on the set about 2 o'clock in the morning. But I would say, despite the chaotic moments in between, it finished up rather quietly, and I think fairly successfully. I just hit 4 or 5 bills that I know came out of the Senate. And I don't know too much what happened on the other side of the aisle. At this point, we're still trying to figure out exactly what bills did pass, what committee reports died in the last few hours. But one thing on the financial side, although Indiana has, things have been pretty tight for the last few years, and I have to give the governor a lot of credit in keeping our head above water. Indiana is solvent. We did not go in debt. We did not raise taxes. And unlike Illinois, which went the exact opposite way, I think Indiana was well managed and did quite well. And besides, we don't retire our governors to federal prison like Illinois does. So we have, what's our extra money? Not extra. And I don't say we have a surplus. I had an old English teacher who called me one morning rather early. He said, Richard? Recognize your voice. Obviously, it's been years since I got out of high school. It's Michelle Fargo. They said you have a surplus. Yes, Mr. Fargo. Do we? Well, maybe. Of course we don't. As long as we have, the teachers' retirement fund, the public employees' retirement fund, I think a couple other funds like that, literally billions of dollars, we do not have a surplus. So, but anyway, we were able to come up with enough money to fund all day kindergarten. We came up with some money which we did not have to pay. We funded mercifully for the victims of the state bad disaster. And we came up with a few other odds and ends that we were able to fund in the last hours of the last session. There was supposed to be some money according to a formula the governor wanted, and I disagreed with. We turned to the citizens. We didn't quite figure out how it should be done. Per rata, per capita. Well, it ended up being per capita. In other words, everyone who filed a tax return will get the same amount back. But if our operating balance reaches a certain level, I think it's better. And then, well, half of it balance would go to the to pay off the indebtedness for the retirement funds. It's not indebtedness exactly, but it's underfunding. And then the rest would be returned. Well, you might get $50 back. It's going to cost us several dollars to send it out. I would have preferred if we just put it all in this, the rest of the state's liability of these retirement funds. It made sense. But we still have a provision in there that maybe don't spend it. Maybe someday you might get $50 a piece back, but don't count it. Well, we've had a few other things. We had a nepotism bill we passed, which I think was long overdue. It's not good to have family members on the payroll when your brother or your uncle or someone or your dad is passing on the budget. We've had one rather unfortunate situation in Morgan County. Well, let's see, the fire chief's wife is chairman of the township board, and I think his uncle was trustee or something like that. And it's the highest paid, quite clear, it's the highest paid fire department in Morgan County. things like that shouldn't happen with public money. And so we passed that bill. It didn't force anyone out of office. It's in there right now. They finished their term. But on the other hand, it put some limitations that I think were quite overdue. We had a smoking ban. We passed. We went through a lot of stages. I was kind of ashamed of the Senate one day with all the amendments we put on it, which pretty well destroyed it. But the conference committee came back, we did pass a bill, which does protect a lot of people in the workplace, and I think that's appropriate. I guess this is all easy for me to say, because I never have smoked. If it's just a matter of personal freedom, people have the right to make their own mistakes, whether they're good or bad. Mistakes are bad. On the other hand, you don't have the right to endanger somebody else. And the secondhand smoke, a lot of medical evidence that you are causing a problem to other people, not just a smoker. So I supported that, and I said the bill is better. We were just talking about it earlier. It's not perfect, probably needs to be tweaked and keep moving on it, but it's a definite step in the right direction. That's one thing. We made it possible for counties to legalize golf courses in the county roads. I voted against it. I'm against golf carts. They're kind of cute. They're kind of convenient sometimes. But on the other hand, a golf cart is not designed for public highways. There's nothing in the law which says they have to have headlights, tail lights, any sort of standard brakes. And that's part of a golf course. There's not too much to hit on a golf course. But going down the county roads, I understand why people want them. They're the electric, they don't burn gasoline, they've got all those virtues. But anyway, we did pass. So the county commissioners can authorize and put whatever standards they want, and I hope they do so judiciously. They can't allow them on the county roads. Let's see. We put a little more teeth into the access to public records, which means if you want to see the county budget or any budget or any other public papers, you go down and request it, and they don't give it to you. You have to go to the public counsel. If he says they have to give it to you, then a fine can be imposed upon the public official who refuses to give you access to those records. And I think we've got it complicated enough, it won't be too much harassment, and yet those are public records. And they should, and you and every one of you should have access to them if you're interested and want to see them. And well, a good idea for you to look at them every once in a while. After all, it's your money. Well, we have a lot of other bills, but I think that's enough for me. I'll pass on to these to what happened in the House, and I'll be very happy to answer any questions you have.